Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about an article I saw in It's Fast News, and it was about the internet is dying, basically the dead internet theory a little bit. And of course, this is a conspiracy theory that seems to have enough evidence to suggest it's one of them conspiracy facts. You know, those types of things that tend to happen all the time. You know, it's all a conspiracy theory until unequivocal evidence comes out that it's absolutely 100% true. And I think that that's precisely the thing that we are looking at right here. And so one of the things I want to do is I just wanted to flip through the article and just provide a little bit of commentary on this, because it is a wonderful article, even dipping back into nostalgia here. So almost 50% of internet traffic is non-human already. Unchecked, it could lead to a zombie internet. Wonderful. It was bad enough to worry about zombies meandering down the street in your local town. Now we have to worry about zombies meandering down the street in your local inbox too. Of course, I see this all the time. I don't know about you. So he says, I have a theory. Most people from mine and slightly older generations still remember the first time we went online unsupervised. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Whether you're talking about getting on the internet, I actually telnetted a game of Warcraft 2 was the first thing I did cooperatively, you know, what you might call across the network. I had a friend whose their family was really abreast on the computer technology. Mine was not. We not only were we extraordinarily poor, we were also in a situation where I just didn't care for computer technology at all. It was kind of a remarkable thing how far I've come in technology, being from a background that you might call a technophobe. So we were playing Warcraft 2, and my friend says, hey, you can dial my phone number in this computer and we can play together online. And of course, it wasn't dialing into BattleNet servers. It was dialing directly into his, and we were effectively doing a LAN, you know, through his system. And so we were able to, you know, get our armies together, and it was buggy as all get out and constantly laggy. And but it was an interesting experience. That was there. Now, probably maybe about a year before this, I had experienced the internet in high school. We got a couple of computers that actually had the internet, and we got a chance to go into there in some of our classes to go, whoa, the internet, the whole world is at our fingertips on the Mac computers that our school had, you know. And so, yeah, I understand, and I'm older than this person, according to what's in the article here. But yeah, the first time we went on the internet, when I got internet at home, in fact, I didn't really tell anybody. I paid for it myself, and I went to a local internet provider company, got the dial-up, and man, was that a surprise when somebody picked up the phone for the first time. You know, picking up the phone to make a call, you know, because, you know, you had to use your basic phone line for the internet, and the more you were on there, you know, you couldn't get phone calls. So I understand that, and we are getting to the point where people are going to start forgetting what it's like to be on the internet for the first time, because people are raised into it now. And I think that's a tragic thing. It is a tragic state of affairs when we are raised into the internet, when you come into consciousness with an internet, a tablet, a phone, or something like this already there. But that is the world we have created for ourselves, for better or for worse. He says, why would I bestow such gravitas and import to 1 hour over 2 decades ago in a tiny internet cafe on Internet Explorer of all things? Hey, at least one point in time I downloaded Netscape Navigator. Yeah, we actually set that it was a 15 megabyte file. You had to set it up to download overnight because it took hours, and if it didn't work successfully, well, you don't get it, and you got to try it again and again and again. Eventually we had the ability, let's see, we couldn't even we couldn't even download that on the faster internets at school or the computers or stuff because, floppy disks could only do, I think, was it 3.5 megabytes or something like that on the advanced floppy disk. So you couldn't even move that thing over. It was like no technology to move this kind of stuff. It was an interesting day back then. But the reality is that the internet opened up this author to the world. For me, it wasn't as much that way. I was never this deeply internet addicted person. In fact, all through grad school, I didn't even have internet at my house. We had fast internet at the college, and I just said I was going to save money, and anything that I have to do on the internet, I have 24-hour access to the building. I can go do, banking. Imagine that I did banking on our public computers in our lab. I cringe now. Fortunately, all those accounts are since closed. But he mentions here that he wanted to do film, and that was completely impossible where he lived. I'm assuming it's a he. Maybe it's probably a she. But in Sri Lanka, and they didn't have any resources available, and the internet was the first time provided the information needed to do that. And so that was certainly a fascinating thing. And when, of course, the internet first jumped in, it was mostly real people doing real things online. But now we are in this world with the dead internet. So the dead internet theory itself effectively says that the vast majority of traffic online is all caused by bots. That's all there is. It's all just bots. And once it peaks over that 50% mark, which it's already effectively over, the internet is effectively dead. It is cannibalizing on itself. It is creating posts by itself. It is reading the post by itself. It is commenting on the post by itself. And effectively, all of this internet traffic goes up in for no reason. And I think the worst part about this, and the thing that makes this more problematic than anything, is the fact that while all this is going on, people are still able to make money off of it. Those bots can contribute to your ad revenue, and your ad revenue contributes to something. And then, of course, I think the ad companies just realize you got to throw, people have to throw millions of dollars into it. And this is why Google and Facebook hires third party, third world country people over in China and Philippines and things like that to call up anybody using Google services with a business page and be like, I think you need to come in with ads. We will help you make millions and millions of dollars by just selling you ads. And then they do this and they set you up. And it's to the point where one of my clients was, we were running like $500 a month in Google ads and not really seeing statistics on it. And he ended up getting a call from one of those Facebook people. Hello, we'd like to help you get ads on Facebook. And they automated the system, and the Facebook ads actually resulted in at least a month of traffic, which was good. So he looked down and said, hey, we're spending $1,000 now. He's like, well, which one's better? I say, Facebook's better right now. He says, well, turn off Google. Okay, turn off Google. Well, I was looking at analytics, and I pulled my analytics report, and I see this massive boost from paid search. I'm like, we shouldn't have a massive in paid search because I turned these off. And so I went down and went back into the analytics account and see there's an ad running. I'm like, what's going on with this? So I turn it off, and then I contact him. I'm like, hey, I thought we turned this off. He's like, oh yeah, I worked with one of those guys to get the ads back in. And it's just like, once again, like, yeah, we got a hit from it, but I did not see any discernible. In fact, our sales went down. Our sales actually went down over the time because all of this ad revenue, we're paying hundreds of dollars. Another example on my own personal stuff, I actually turned off all of my Amazon advertising because for whatever reason, my ads just kept on getting hit by bots. So I am paying Amazon a certain amount of money to display advertisements for my book when someone searches for certain keywords. So it'll appear in the top based on whatever else. And I got to the point where Amazon flipped the button, and all of a sudden, where I used to be paying something like $20 or $30 a month in ads, all of a sudden I'm paying like $80 to $100 in ads, and I actually see a reduction in sales. I'm like, what's going on? I pull up the ad reports, and it's just bot traffic. It's just bot traffic. And so the bots are coming in, they're clicking on the ads that cost me money to run the ads, but obviously the bot's not buying anything. But Amazon doesn't care because Amazon's making the ad money. They don't care if I sell anything. They just care if they sell an ad. So I just turned off the ads. Maybe down the road I'll investigate a little bit further, but that's the problem with the dead internet theory, is it costs all of the small business owners, which are trying to sell their products, end up paying for all this bot traffic that's coming on the internet. So we need to deal with that as a solution. And this person goes into some of the statistics. So this is a 2024. I would have liked to see this over time, see how this has changed. But the green is human. The red is what they term a good bot. And the blue is what they term a bad bot, and across various industries. Entertainment is the one that really sticks out the most. Only 15% traffic attributed to real humans, 56% bad bots, 30% good bots in entertainment. Then we have, let's see, it looks like the next lowest is 30% in telecom and ISP stuff. So 30% real humans and 55% bad bots, or good, was this bad bots and red good, but I think I said that wrong before. These 30% were the bad bots and the 56% are the good bots, which presumably is just bots scraping the internet and just creating endless articles to feed the addiction of what's going on in the entertainment industry, which is why it's probably wise to avoid it. Looking at the industry with the highest human use is gambling, of course. We're screwed. 2% good bots, 28% bad bots. Yep, that's an addiction right there. Whereas I don't see porn on this list, but that's got to be pretty high in the human listing too, I gotta say. Let's see, we have 66, I think 66% looks like the next highest. That's law and government. The bad bots, like, yeah, there's no real business over there, 11% good bots, maybe things scraping to look for laws, notes, things like that. The one with the smallest amount of good bot, the gambling. Outside of the gambling, we have marketing, 3% good bots. Look at this, 38% bad bots. Pretty high in the list of bad bots, all involved in marketing. And I think that those are the bots that are just going out. Some of these are bots programmed to just mass click the ads of their competitors. It's basically, a guerrilla marketing approach. Outspend your marketer, exceed their daily ad budget. Their ads stop showing, your ads can still show. And so you get that. And then, of course, the other thing you might see in there is just a whole lot of bots just throwing up content for the purpose of marketing a bunch of BS. So that's kind of what we see over there. So the author goes on to say, I was in 2005 working as a copywriter for a web development firm specialized in hospitality. Clients are the biggest brands in the industry, and every week our job was to ensure their websites would rank above the competition. My employer was a well-known service provider, the entire sector, which meant we worked on brands that were competing against one another. Wonderful. Now, of course, you can just have the AI do that kind of stuff, and then you just unleash the bot, and then the bot goes in, does all the clicks, does all the type of things, and then the CEO looks at the report and goes, look at all this traffic. Why aren't we getting sales? It's because it's all bots. It's all bots. So the costs of a dead internet. So the research carried off by Brevendorf et al. Restricted itself mostly to websites that focused on product reviews. We don't require advanced comprehension of statistics to extrapolate these findings into more critical areas such as political, social discourse, AI-generated news. That's an interesting thing, looking at review stuff and dead internet and it just AI junk. When my car GPS had finally died after a good 15 years of good service, and so I needed to buy a new one, and I wanted to have a look at the reviews of the two that I could get at the local store. And I could not find what I would call a reputable review. Just a human being who said, hey, this is the GPS. This is what's in the box. This is how it works. This is the functions. Nearly everything. I saw everything from AI smear videos, literally AI generated, just showing you all of the negative points that Redditors have said over the years. I have seen just AI slop with I don't even know. Weird. First time I looked up a product review in a long time, and I was baffled about how useless the responses were. Eventually, I'm just like, well, let's just roll the dice on this one because I don't know. It's here. Let's buy it. Okay. Then they get into a little bit of misinformation here. The evidence shows AI misinformation is leading to erosion on common shared truth. I think this is an interesting point here because the concept itself of misinformation is itself misinformation. That is a term that has been completely destroyed and polluted for multiple bad reasons over the time. And the reality is that what some person's misinformation is another person's absolute truth. And the reality is that information, the challenge with the term misinformation and what it deals with is we are in this post-truth world. Postmodernism has infiltrated the basis levels of our world, which is why we cannot sit down under the concept of any form of so-called absolute truth. The reality is there is such a thing as absolute truth, and I am not referring specifically to religious truth claims or whatever else. 2 + 2 = 5. There is no other way around it. And XY inside of your cells makes you a male. There is no other way around it. These are objective, absolute, objective facts, verifiable by science. We are living in a world that verified science is open for scrutiny, and that's a problem. But I'm not talking verified science, studies have shown what Tylenol does to the developing child. We're not talking that. That's a complicated scientific theory or hypothesis. I haven't looked at the specific data to know, is it a theory, is it a hypothesis, is it a lot, whatever else. But when you boil it down to things like the absoluteness of numbers and mathematics, the absoluteness of biological genotypes and phenotypes, there are absolutes there. And if our world is so postmodern, we cannot get around that. That is a problem. So now we have this whole concept of misinformation. What misinformation are you talking about? Then you want to talk about fact-checking sites. Fact-checking sites. Fact-check, 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 fact-check. Fact-check based on what? The bias articles you choose to include or not include? Is our government being shut down by Trump? Is our government being shut down by the Republicans? Or is our government being shut down by Democrats? Everybody says that their truth is true, and everybody that says to the contrary to their truth is misinformation. And it's a lot more complicated than that. And that's one of the challenges. Remember that Eric Schmidt at Google said when you type something into Google, you type a search query into Google, you shouldn't get a bunch of answers. You should get one answer. Well, that's going to depend on the political ways, won't it? Which is why right now Facebook and Google and everybody else is kissing up to the Republican Party because they happen to be the one holding all of the power. Just like they kissed up to the Democratic Party when they were the ones holding up all their power. Misinformation is a biased term. It should be abolished. All right, so reviving the reviving the revelatory internet. So in this study offered a few ways forward. While exposure to AI-generated misinformation does make people more worried about the quality of information available online, it can also increase the value they attach to outlets with reputations for credibility as the need for help in distinguishing between real and synthetic content becomes more pressing. There's another challenge. One person's reputable source of information is another person's den of evil people and misinformation masters. You see the problem. We are in a world that is screwed up because we have gone postmodern and we have no absolute basis to rule on. Reviving the internet has to be a collective fight. Every one of us can play their part in ensuring a more vibrant internet. Then we don't have to go into survival mode and opt for devices like the Prepper disk for the post-apocalypse offline internet knowledge. He says, excellent idea. I'm gonna have to look into that. I might want that. I don't know. That sounds fun. Now they talk here about some ways we can resist for a more human internet, and I don't see any of these as resisting for a more human internet. Spam protection. This doesn't work. not in the current forms we have. And then, of course, we put too much trust in small, in individual companies like Cloudflare. Find me an anti-spam system outside of Cloudflare. Well, they're probably using Cloudflare if you find one. And that in and of itself is a problem. But how do we solve this? Well, maybe we need to put a little bit of power on these marketing agencies that any form of bot clicking an ad doesn't count. So maybe the marketing agencies need to do a lot more work to eliminate botting, because the reality is that if I'm paying $30 a month on Amazon and all of that money is going into bots that click it, clearly my ad is they're not selling me what I purchased. That's a problem. But they need to be the ones to stop that. Otherwise, they are charging me for an ad that did not go to a human being to see it. And that's one of the problems with the marketing industry. Right now, we need drastic, serious reform in the marketing industry. That is what we might need to do to start bringing back the internet from the dead internet theory. Because pretty much the dead internet is effectively based on money and marketing. The advertisers make a lot of money off the backs of the small business owners who throw money into marketing their products, but then the marketing is all taken up by a bunch of bots, which have no capability. Well, at least until agentic browser takes over. Then it's just who figures out how to make their ad suggest the thing to absolutely buy the product. Wait until that becomes a thing. And then it's still bots. It's still bots fighting bots in that case. So that might actually make it worse. They say here, disinformation detection and curated search. So again, looking at a number of different things, PHP, BB, and Discourse, FOSS forum platforms for authentic and moderated human communities. Yeah, unfortunately, your authentic, moderated humans become completely overwhelmed with spam bots all over the place. Now, is it possible to keep some of those out? I think you can keep a few of them out, but not entirely. What about captures to create one? Well, you just hire a Chinese dude, pay him a penny per capture that they solve for the AI bot. Once you have the user account, they go crazy on in there, and then the bot's loose in the forum anyway. So why not, right? And then they mentioned fact-checking and false narrative alerting tools with transparent code, useful for journalists and other regular users. Again, fact-checking is extraordinarily biased in a postmodern world. We have no standard bearing on what truth is, and having no standard bearing on what truth is, then your fact-checking becomes an adherence to your own ideology, not any form of objective absolute truth. And that is a challenge. Disinfo Open Toolbox, open source tools to verify news credibility. So I think what they might be getting at here is deep fake type stuff. That is something that could potentially have a source in reality here. If we find something that is clearly false, that's one thing. But a lot of what you hear in fact checking is based on political ideology, not based on any form of absolute standards. Building and joining authentic communities, of course. They say here Mastodon. Is Mastodon bot free? I think Mastodon is probably the source of most of these bots, actually. But, maybe we need to find a way to do that. Personhood credentials. Sam Altman, where are you? We need your eye scanning tools to verify we're human. Oh, wait, no, I don't want that world either. And then protect your browsers. So alternative search engines, CRX, DuckDuckGo to reduce SEO, spam, and filter content. No. DuckDuckGo, CRX maybe. DuckDuckGo, it's just Microsoft results. DuckDuckGo gives you as much AI crap. In fact, DuckDuckGo gives you the AI crap on top of your browser as well. The SEO spam gets caught up inside of DuckDuckGo just as much as Google and Bing and whatever else. So that's not a way. Now, the RSS aggregators, that one is a way to have curated open source, basically bypassing algorithmic feeds, things like that. FOSS moderation, spam filtering, fact checking. Yeah, ways that we can verify, but even that, it's hard. I guess this is a black pill. I don't know if we have a solution. I don't know if we have a way forward. I think the internet is just dead. We have to leave it by. What is the one thing we can do? Well, maybe one thing we could do. Okay, let me stop being black pill for a moment. Let me just think back and talk about a couple solutions. Solution number one. marketing companies, any marketing company, Facebook, Amazon, Google, anybody else selling ads, Microsoft, anybody selling ads, you cannot charge a person money for an ad that is clicked on by a bot. Well, how do we know? Well, you know what? You're the one hosting the ad. You're the one taking the money. You get to use that money to figure out how to filter the bots out of your advertising system. There's a thought. There's a good first step. Another thing on the legislative level, let's ban algorithms. Banning algorithms on the internet will do away with the incentive for all of the bot traffic to outrank SEO, to put forth the AI rot content farm crap. It'll put forth all the nonsense. That's another thing. There's a startup company. I won't mention them here yet, maybe in the comments if enough people ask, but there is a new startup company that's like it's a marketing firm leveraging the power of AI. We're going to get you on Fox. We're going to get you on CNN. We're going to get you on MSNBC. Yes, my client signed up for that too. And every single post that we have received has all been AI slop. We're talking websites that are so new, they haven't even been out for 6 months. They have hundreds of articles, and if you dig back far enough, you can still find the WordPress test post and 5 pages of lorem ipsum text. That's how low quality this crap is. It is utter nonsense. And they're collecting, I think, $700 a month selling this crap to people. It's insanity. Insanity. It's all based on this concept of utilizing AI to outrank SEO. That's what they're trying to do. And I said, it's going to hurt our reputation more. You should stop working with it. And so the reality here is that we have to have an internet. Number one, legislatively, let's ban algorithms. If I want to get on Facebook and I want to see what my friends are up to, that means I want to see what my friends are up to. I don't want to see what you want me to see. I don't want you to decide what I see. I want to decide what I see. Ban algorithms. Ban them. Legislatively. Easy enough to do. The second thing, of course, the marketing firms. As I already mentioned, marketing firms have to address the issue on their platforms. They should not be allowed to charge money for a bot that clicks on ads. And there's plenty of evidence that they are. Outside of that, maybe we need to have more tools and more resources and more capability of being able to easily block things that we know are bots, we know are malicious. Effectively, if we get the botting to be profitless, it will stop. I'm just not sure I'm going to see those as clear options going forward. But there are my thoughts on this article here on the dead internet theory and what's going on with it, and some of my perspectives and things that I've seen working with clients recently. Let me know your thoughts about all this crazy rambling mess in the comments down below.